With the whole world turned upside down, moving more and more into the digital space, taking Zoom calls on a day-to-day basis, live streaming events, workshops, and interviews, Georges want to do their part and help you find a solution to get the best quality live stream. So we've broken this video up into 4 different parts. Firstly, we're going to be talking about cameras, then we're talking about capture cards and streaming devices, then we're talking about switches if you have multiple cameras, and finally we're going to go over some audio. So if you're not already in comfortable clothes, get in them, sit back, relax, and enjoy the video. Our first camera on the list is the GoPro Hero 8. Now this doesn't need any cables like all the cameras that we're talking about. You can just stream directly from the GoPro. And this one is nice as well because you just have to set it up through an app, so it's super easy. On top of that, it is an action camera, so you can take it in the water if you did want to, as well as it records 4K and slow motion. Moving on to camera number 2, which is the Canon G7X. This is by far one of the most popular cameras for vlogging or filming yourself because it has that flip up screen. It also has 4.2 times zoom, so you can reduce some of that background, and it has built-in IS, so if you're walking around, it's not going to be much like a roller coaster. Finally, it also has autofocus, so as you're walking around, it will also stay in focus on your face. Next up, our friends at Panasonic have some awesome options such as the HCX1500. Now this camera has 4K video, 24 times zoom, and it also has built-in ND filters, so if you're shooting outdoors, you can still maintain that killer quality. Camera number 4 is the Panasonic HCX2000, the big brother of the previous camera. Now it comes with all the same features as that one, but a few more such as a built-in light, better audio equipment, and it also has an SDI port so you can get a bit more flexibility when outputting your video. Lastly, the 5th and final camera is the Panasonic AWUE4. This camera shoots 4K as well as its very different form factor to the other ones, so you can either sit it on a flat surface or you can actually mount it more like a security camera and leave it permanently in, say, an auditorium or a studio. This is actually a very good all-in-one setup. The only downside is it does need to be plugged in, unlike these cameras where they can run wirelessly. This is, however, just to maintain the great stream quality. So just to reiterate, all the cameras that we've mentioned so far will stream directly to a platform wirelessly without any cables, except for that last one. Now, if you already have a camera with a clean HDMI out, all you need to make it a webcam and to be able to stream with it is a capture card or a streaming device. Now the first capture card we have is a KAMERAKAZI AG1. Now this is super simple. All you need is a USB 3.0 cable, plug it into this side, and then you need a HDMI directly into your camera and plugging it into this side. What this will do once you plug it into your computer is register your camera as a webcam, and now you're able to stream to any platform. Number 2 on the list is the Blackmagic Intensity Shuttle. Now this is for if you want to add a little bit more audio inputs or you even want a HDMI out. So say you're doing it on a presentation board and you want to output that same video to a screen, you're able to do that with the Blackmagic Intensity. This is very similar. All you need to do is plug the HDMI cable into the Blackmagic Intensity from your camera and then plug the USB cable, which is included, into the computer, and then it will register your camera as a webcam. Now both of these options are great and super simple if you have a computer. If you don't have a computer and you want to travel or go out wirelessly, then this is probably the one to go for. This is a TERADEK VIDIUGO and allows you to plug your camera in via HDMI and stream wirelessly. All you need is either a modem or you can get the additional node attachments that go on the side here, and it allows you to plug in a SIM card to stream wirelessly. Streaming device number 4 is the MATROX MONARCH HD. Similar to the TERADEK, this one you don't need a computer after you do the initial setup, but unlike the TERADEK, this one is not a wireless solution. This one you have to plug it into your network via an Ethernet cable, and other ports that it does have is HDMI in for your camera, HDMI out if you wanted to monitor, as well as it does have a recording capability. It can record video at 30 megabits per second, and it can also stream video at 20 megabits per second. Solution number 5 is the Blackmagic Web Presenter. I really like this option because it has an XLR in, which is great if you want to plug a microphone into it. And it also has HDMI and SDI in, which is great if you're using a higher end camera. Now it works very similar to the other devices. All you need is that cable to plug into your computer, and your computer will read it as a webcam. An optional accessory that you can get, which is really cool, it gives it so much more functionality, is this front panel, and it gives you a screen as well as 2 buttons that give you the ability to switch between 2 cameras during a stream. The only downside about this device is that it doesn't come with the cables in the box. You will have to purchase them separately, but we can help you out with that. Our 6th and final solution for a capture card or a streaming device is the Blackmagic Ultra Studio HD. It looks very similar to the Web Presenter. However, unlike the Web Presenter, it doesn't have a HDMI in. So keep that in mind when you are using it, because you might have to either get an adapter from HDMI to SDI, or just make sure your camera has SDI out. For most users using a single camera, these are the ones to go for. However, if you're doing instructional videos, interviews, or just wanting a multiple camera setup like this, then you're probably going to be looking at switchers instead. Switching devices or switchers allow you to connect multiple inputs and switch between them live. One thing to keep in mind though is that some of them you're able to plug directly into your computer, and some of them you have to get one of the devices we talked about earlier. This one in particular is the Roland V-IHD, and allows you to connect up to 4 different cameras. They're what they call worry-free HDMI inputs, which means if you have a 4K signal, a 1080p signal, it will regulate it all for you here. It also has a nice preview output, which will give you 4 inputs on one screen. It also, right next to that, has a clean HDMI output, which is nice so you can plug in directly to a capture device and stream it from your computer. One thing about the Roland is that it does have really nice audio inputs as well. Just at the front here, it has audio in and audio out. And on the side, it has a headphone output and a microphone input, but that is only 3.5mm. Last thing I like about the V-IHD is that you're able to control and transition between all 4 inputs nice and seamlessly with the slider and this control output fader. Next up we have is the brother of this one, which is the Roland VR1HD. Now it is very similar, however it does have a little bit more audio flexibility, such as 2 XLR inputs and faders for both of those. It also has 3 HDMI ins instead of 4. However, it does have 1 HDMI through, meaning you're able to plug a computer directly into it and stream that screen. On top of that, it's more of an all-in-one solution, as you're able to connect it directly into your computer. I see this one really great for anyone doing podcasts, so that way you can plug both your XLR microphones into it and do your video through that as well. Switching device number 3 is the Blackmagic ATEM Mini. Similar to the Roland, it can take up to 4 HDMI ins, and yes, they are worry-free. It also has 2 microphone inputs, which are only 3.5mm. However, the cherry on top is that it can connect directly to your computer via a USB-C cable. One thing I didn't like about the Blackmagic ATEM Mini is that it didn't have a preview of your inputs. However, Blackmagic have just released a newer version which allow you to see 4 of your inputs, as well as you're able to record your recording directly to a hard drive plugged into the switcher. This is called the Blackmagic ATEM Mini Pro. Switching device number 5, which I have mentioned before, is the Blackmagic Web Presenter. This one you will need the front panel if you did want to switch between both cameras. One thing to keep in mind though is that one of them has to be HDMI and one SDI, but this is still a great option. The final switcher before we get into audio is the Blackmagic Television Studio HD. This one's great because at the back you can connect up to 8 channels, 4 of them being SDI, 4 of them being HDMI, and it also has 2 multi-view outputs so you can see all your inputs, and they come in 2 flavors of SDI and HDMI. It also has 2 XLR inputs for audio just at the back and 1 1/4-inch microphone input at the front. On top of that, you also have a 1/4-inch headphone jack to monitor all your audio, and you have your controls to monitor your video and audio, and you even have a little screen to see all your inputs. This is perfect for anyone who has 4 inputs or more, as it gives you the flexibility to expand into more cameras. It also has the rack mounting option, so you can mount it to a rack shelf for that real studio setup. Since film is 50% visual, 50% audio, having good audio is super crucial. Now, I've mentioned that a lot of those devices have audio inputs, so let's start off with some good microphones you can plug into them. First up is the Sennheiser wireless kit. This one is great because you're able to mount a microphone directly on you. So say you're doing a workshop or demonstration or even a cooking video where you want to move around, your audio will stay consistent throughout your whole video. All you need to do is connect one side to yourself, and since it is wireless, you just connect the other side to one of the devices we mentioned earlier, and you have great audio. Next up, if you're a gamer or you're just at your computer and you want great audio, here is the perfect solution. This is the Rode NT USB Mini, which is cool because it's mini. That was so dumb. This one's great if you're gaming or just sitting at your computer and not moving around as much as this one. Then it's perfect because you can plug it directly into your computer via a USB-C cable. It also has a headphone jack so you can monitor as soon as you're recording, so that way you can hear how good it sounds. Our final recommendation is the RODECASTER Pro. This allows you to connect up to 4 different microphones, so if you have multiple people talking or you just are playing instruments, etc., you're able to connect 4 different microphones via XLR. You also have 4 headphone outputs so they can monitor it individually if you have 4 people sitting around. It also has sliders which are able to adjust each individual channel. You can connect it all via a USB-C cable to your computer, and you can also record internally with a micro SD card. On top of that, if you're bored at home, you can play around with these buttons and add some sound effects and get funky with it. So hopefully this video has given you some insight into what gear is out there to get a great quality stream and what's going to be suitable for your situation. If you have any questions, don't hesitate to comment down below, give us a call, book in a Zoom call, or chat to any of our web sales team. If you've made it this far, comment this below, give this video a like and subscribe to our channel, and we'll see you in the next one. Stay safe.